first question.
Okay, good morning po, Congressman. Last week po, kinontra na ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. yung isinusulong na secession or yung pagkalas ng Mindanao sa Pilipinas. Pero may sagot po si former President Duterte and he said, secession is a legal process, doesn't mean going to war. Kung kayo po yung tatanungin, ano po yung position nyo dito and do you think po appropriate for the government to pursue charges po versus former President Duterte and former House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez na nagsusulong din po nitong secession? Thank you po.
Anybody, sir?
Yes, well, we'll start with the issue of secession because it really, the question of calling for independence really started in our community, in the ARM, way back in the 1960s, 70s, and up to the 80s, in early part of the 90s. And this resulted to series of peace negotiations between, first, initially, the Moro National Liberation Front. And following that, after the 1996 peace agreement, which was signed between the government of the Philippines and the MNLF, the MILF also had its own separate peace negotiation with the government of the Philippines. It started in 1997 during President Ramos's time when he declared a general cessation of hostilities in order to give way for the negotiations with the MILF. Now, we have already the BARM, and we had the ARMM, and we have the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. I'm saying this because insofar as the call for secession is concerned, I think the Muslim community, minority Muslims in Mindanao, have the moral ascendancy to call for secession in the first place. And this is due to, and I think this has already been accepted by the government, even in the previous administration, when former PRRD said that it's time to correct the injustices committed against the Moro people. So we have that ascendancy, the moral ascendancy to speak about and call for independence. But if you ask us, that issue is already settled. And there is no clamor for us to pursue independence. In fact, we altogether abandoned the call for independence, and we have settled for genuine autonomy because there's no way to move forward than to embrace national polity, join the mainstream Filipino society in order to progress not only the Philippines but to ultimately ourselves. For the past several years, when the call for secession is very, very hot, and the revolutionary group movements were very active on the ground, there were no progress that we have seen in our areas. And this is precisely the reason why we have decided, and our elders have decided, that it's not fair to inherit the problem, pass on the problem to the next generation. I am the second generation of Muslim minority in the country who have seen the brunt of war. I've seen it. I know the smell of the decomposing body. So I know the sound of a gun. So kami po yung unang magsasabing tapos na po yan because we want to move forward. Now, yes, it may be true that this is a democratic country. Anybody can say their piece. If you are dissatisfied or frustrated with your government, you can say whatever you want. But secession has a legal terminology. It is not loosely used by any ordinary people. When you call for a secession, and the national government is very clear, I don't think the national government, especially the security sector, would just hand independence to us on a silver platter. There will be resistance from the national government. And our law enforcement agencies, the security sector, particularly our armed forces, have sworn to protect the integrity and the sovereignty of our country, including our territory. So whoever threatens that, the territory and the sovereignty of our country, our military or armed forces have the mandate and, in fact, the obligation and the responsibility to protect that. That's why President Marcos came out saying he will never surrender even an inch of our territory in the country. So I guess our leaders in Mindanao should be more circumspect because they have the chance to really improve the lives of the people. And we've seen the fruit of the peace process, and allow that to really have its own way of really bringing a progress in Mindanao. When you talk about Mindanao, Mindanao is composed of 33 provinces and many cities. If you discuss to me improvement or those who have not been receiving equal share from the national government, it's mostly the Muslim communities. If you go to Davao City, it's even more progressive than many cities here in Manila, I guess, or in Visayas. If you go to Cagayan, and many, these are progressive cities, and they don't have the, I guess wala ho silang rason para sabihin nila magsisid sila. So it's mostly about the Muslim communities, minority Muslim communities. Why is that? Because we've been subjected to series of armed conflict, and we do not want to happen that again. And I guess on the part of our military, if there's going to be a push for secession, then through let's say a peaceful manner, nobody would even join the group. If you talk about taking up arms, that's another question, because that would entail, I guess, a heinous crime that would, that would be, you'll be facing heinous crimes because under the revised penal code, there will be a lot of consequences if you did push more aggressive in your call. So I guess my calling to our leaders, be more circumspect. If we should not use independence or the issue on secession of Mindanao as a political slogan. We should not use that loosely in order to express our dismay politically. This issue of secession have killed more than 1,000 great men. So let's put it to rest. We want to join the Philippines. We embrace unity. And let's support this administration call for unity. Wag natin gamitin ito na political slogan or tirahin because we are frustrated personally or politically sa nakaupong mga leader. Huwag po. Kasi it adds insult to the memories of those who are fallen. And those, our troops who have sacrificed their lives in order to protect the Philippines, I think at the least that we can do is to honor their memories and keep this country intact.
Thank you, sir. Do our guests
Kuya
have any
Ryan,
other further
follow-up na
remarks?
lang. Follow-up na lang.
Sige.
Sorry po, follow-up na lang po. Sa palagay niyo po ba, dahil si former Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez yung nagpupush nito at mukhang desidido siya along with former President Duterte, sa palagay niyo po ba dapat siyang isubject to an ethics complaint?
Go ahead, sir.
Well, that, we haven't discussed that yet, and that would depend on the, of course, the leadership, but it also would depend on the gravity of the offense. Basically, we have rules here. Of course, we are congressmen and we have sworn loyalty to the country. We have yun ang oath po namin. But that would depend on how the House of Representatives would see that. But I would advise. I mean, I do not want to presume, more knowledgeable. Kasi malayo po in terms of experience. He has been here for, he's been serving the House of Representatives. He was a former speaker. He should know better than us. So I guess it's not really maybe an appeal as a first termer, because we also follow the footsteps of our veteran legislators. They inspire us, and unfortunately, that kind of call does not do any good to anyone, especially us, the neophytes of the House of Representatives. I don't know. That would depend on how things will move forward. Thank you.
This is an issue of respect, no? Yung respeto. Hindi naman po pwede na may ayaw ka, tapos ang gusto mo, paghiwalay na yung bansa, no? With all due respect, no? Nung panahon ni Presidente Duterte, meron din naman mga opinion na hindi naman sang-ayon ng mga tao, pero hindi naman dumating sa punto na tumatawag tayo ng paghihiwalay, no? Ng mga iba't ibang parte ng ating bansa. So, sana, respetuhin din natin ang administration ni Pangulong Marcos, no? At magkaisa na lang tayo at para hindi na tayo nagkakagulo-gulo at lalong-lalo na ang Mindanao ngayon is paunlad na, no? Umuunlad ng Mindanao at talagang tinututukan ng ating presidente yung mga problema sa Mindanao, no? So talagang nakikita natin yung pagbabago ngayon sa Mindanao ngayong panahon na ito. So sana itigil nila yung panawagan, no, tungkol sa paghihiwalay, no, ng Mindanao. Thank you.
Iisa tayong tao, iisa tayong bansa, iisa tayong Pilipinas. Just a thought of Mindanao seceding is worrisome and deeply saddening, no? At this point in time, ngayon 2024 na po, napaka-progressive na ng ating bansa. Kinikilala po tayo sa buong mundo, sa ginagawa po natin ngayon, sa development po natin. At ang liderato rin po ng ating mahal na Pangulo na nakakapagtulong sa bawat sulok po ng ating bansa ngayon. And just a call for seceding Mindanao or secession is really deeply saddening. So I hope na-appeal po sa ating mga leaders na tigilan na po natin ito. Sa isang alang-alang na po natin for the sake of our country, for the sake of unity po. Maraming salamat.
Mahaba na nga yung mga sagot nila eh. Pero the point is, parang reactionary lang yung about the case of Mindanao eh. Kasi if they were studying it and they were planning this for the longest time, matagal na po na nandyan yung mga political actors na nagpo-push for this one. Eh bakit hindi po nasama sa pag-aaral dati at hindi naman po natutukan? So, yun nga, the call of the President during the campaign was for us to be united. So, he's standing by that. Gusto niya, united ang Pilipinas, united ang Filipino. Kasi pag hindi tayo magkaisa, walang peace and order, then paano uusbong tong ekonomiya natin? So, ang dami pa nating mabibigat na problema, which is talaga dito kami sa Kongreso. Kaya nga po naipasa na po namin yung mga LEDAC priority measures, nakapasa na po lahat. Kasi we see the urgency of the power of legislation na gawin mas maayos ang buhay ng mga kapwa natin. So, yun lang.